Hey, my name is Tyler Stillwell, class of 2015. First, let me say by no means, I don't think I had it figured out to a T, but I think I was really lucky in that my parents from a young age started talking to me about finances. And as I went into college, I knew that it was important. I didn't quite know how I was going to do it, but I knew that I needed to manage whatever source of money I had well. So frankly, I kind of fluttered around the first few months and just got lucky. But then I really started to dial in, and I found that the most important thing was making a plan, right? Making a plan and constantly revisiting my plan, right? And within the plan, I would find a few key things that mattered most to me, a few categories, and I would stick to those. And those became if I'm gonna do 3 things right with my money this month, it's gonna be these 3 things. And then everything else was kind of a cherry on top. And looking at my finances like that really helped propel me through college, and I think it set me up well for success for life even after college. Some of my main categories, I wanted to make sure that I tithed, right, which has looked different over the years. It's looked at different places. Sometimes it's been everything that I was tithing was towards the church. Sometimes part of what I was tithing was towards different ministries that I wanted to support. And my savings was important to me. That was one of the things that my parents drilled into me, and I had heard a lot, was it doesn't matter, no matter if you're making literally $5 a month. And I mean that, if your income is $5 a month, take a percentage of that $5 and put it away. And so what I did for savings is I set it up so that automatically a certain percentage of my paycheck, my income, would go into my savings account. I literally never saw it. And that made it a lot easier to not spend it. And it also made it nice because you could see it add up. And it started small. I mean, I think the first amount I was saving out of a paycheck was $15 every 2 weeks, which is not a whole lot of money, but when I was a freshman, that was a ton of money, right? And what's more important about saving at that age, whenever our checks are small, is it's more about the practice of it. It's more about the diligence. It's more about, hey, I don't have to live off of everything that I make. I don't have to put myself in a position where I'm living paycheck to paycheck, right? And a savings account is always great for a rainy day fund, or if you've got some trip you want to go on with your friends, right? An unexpected trip, it's nice to have that money in the bank. Something else that was important to me was my bills. And the bills was really kind of the third leg of the non-negotiables for me. Let me be clear too, I wasn't perfect at that, right? There were months where I forgot to tithe, or I took some money out of savings and I spent more money that month than I made, or there was months where I was maybe a little bit late getting the bills paid. But those are the 3 areas that I really tried to focus on. Especially when it comes to bills, when you're living in a situation where maybe someone else is floating the bills for you, especially if you're in a house. I always wanted to honor those people. For me, early on, it was my parents. They were floating the money for our house and we would pay them. And I never wanted them to have to call me and ask for money, right? And so those really were the 3 main pieces of my finances that I focused on the most early on, was getting those 3 things right. We all come into college in different scenarios. Some come in where money's not an issue, and some come in where it's tight and you are just scraping by. And my encouragement to you would be, you're gonna have a lot of friends that are going to the lake every weekend. They drive a nice truck, they live at the villas, and they're always partying, right? But as maybe cliche as it sounds, none of that stuff really matters, and you can find plenty of friends and plenty of enjoyment in things that are free, in things that are local. And you know, if you find a solid group of community, it's not about what you're doing, it's about who you're doing it with. I would encourage you too, if money's tight, be diligent in looking. Every restaurant has some night of the week where they have a deal where you can go eat for $7, right? And so that was one of my favorite things to do, was go eat with my friends in college. And there were different times where it didn't matter what I spent on dinner. I could go spend 20, 30 bucks if I wanted to, and I didn't care. and it didn't affect my finances. But there were also times where I can only spend $8 tonight, where can we go? And it's all about, I know this sounds crazy, but enjoying that part of, that's part of the fun in college, is getting by on nothing. For me, some of the, for lack of a better word, the fruit that I've seen from my savings habits are, it has put me in a position after college to do so many more things. It's put me in a position to go invest some money and make some money, right? And for the most part, a saying that I like to live by is you have to make money, you have to have money to make money, right? And without some money that was sitting in my savings account, I wouldn't have been able to go put that money out on the street, have it make some money, and then come back to me. I could have spent that money in college, right? I have plenty of friends that live in Austin, Houston, Dallas that are making roughly the same amount of money, that drive really nice vehicles and live in really nice apartments and go to really nice dinners twice a week, and they enjoy their life, but it's also stressful. And there's this idea of keeping up with the Joneses, and it doesn't get any easier after college. One of the biggest lies that you will believe in college and a bunch of different areas in life is that it'll just be easier after college. It'll be easier after college. It'll be easier to spend time with God. It'll be easier to save money. It'll be easier to treat my boyfriend or my girlfriend appropriately. And all of that is a bunch of bull crap, right? It is so easy to blow an entire paycheck when you get out of college. And the first time that you see that adult paycheck hit your bank, you are gonna think you're rich. I mean, and I remember sitting in church services and hearing Pastor Will talk about, you know, when you get to the point to where you're making $48,000 a year, you're just gonna wish you were making $75,000 a year. And I remember where I was sitting, Pastor Will was right there, and I was like, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. He's absolutely insane. When I'm making $48,000 a year, I'm gonna sleep in a bed full of money. And that's just not true. I remember thinking when I got to that point, gosh, I wish I was making $75,000 a year. And so I say all that to say, money isn't gonna make you happy, but if you can practice controlling the amount of money that you have in college, you are gonna be so thankful for it. That is something that you should practice mastering in college. Master it when you have a little of it, so that whenever you get more of it, it doesn't consume you and it doesn't control you, and you're still the boss of your money.